I did indeed, James. A very big one. It is a tall giraffe. It is not the two fluffy cats that we are looking for, but we will take it for now, and maybe our giraffe will point us in the right direction. Have you seen a giraffe? Not very talkative, is he? That's what I would expect, though, from a giraffe. They generally don't say much at the best of times. They're not the chatty kind, these guys. They typically like to stay nice and quiet, even when they do see a predator. But he is kind of looking off slowly. Well, intently is probably a better word than slowly. I don't know why I said slowly. It's the rust of being away for a while. It's kind of looking intently into the bush to the left of us. I don't think there's anything there. There doesn't seem to be any vehicle tracks to indicate that somebody's been moving around here looking at any cats or anything like that. So we'll just have to kind of see. I wonder if maybe they're not on the boundary close to Buffelshoek Dam rather than actually at the dam itself. So I'll have to go round that way. This giraffe doesn't look too perturbed by life, bar the oxpecker that seems to be plucking it of its fluff on the side of its neck. Of course, they aren't really taking fur off the body. It's more just that they are trying to harvest any parasites that potentially could be on them. And I would imagine after the rains that we've had and the length of grass that we have here, there's going to be a lot of ticks at the moment. The tick load will be incredibly high at this stage of the game, and so poor animals like giraffe and the likes that walk through there are going to have oxpeckers harassing them as they try and kind of feed off all the little tick larvae and pepper ticks and things that are on these giraffe at the moment. Particularly you'll find around the ears, ticks often congregate there, anywhere where the skin is quite soft. So ears and kind of throat area, and then always around the sort of insides of the legs where they join the body. It's a really good place for ticks to often kind of latch on as well. The bird is eating. That is what the bird is doing on the giraffe. It is busy finding food. Oxpeckers are seguinivores mostly, which means that they feed off blood. And so there are various things that they can get off a giraffe, not only parasites like ticks, but they can also feed off the blood of the giraffe itself. And so you see there's a small wound there close to where that bird is, and you'll find that wound, often these guys will peck at it and they'll break the scab, and the giraffe will start bleeding, and they'll then start to actually drink the blood from the giraffe itself. So almost vampire style, these birds. But the other side of it is obviously that they do keep giraffe clean by taking off ticks and various other little parasites that are on them, and they'll feed off that. Sometimes, though, what you will see with these guys is that they will take bits of fur. So particularly in that main area of this giraffe, they'll run their beaks through there and they pluck fur. Now that fur is going to be taken and they'll use it for nesting material. And that's when they'll kind of go fly off the giraffe and use that to line their nests once they lay their eggs. So there can be a number of reasons why they're on here. This particular oxpecker, though, looks like it's feeding. You can see the kind of way it's running its beak through and turns its head sideways, and that beak almost acts like a pair of scissors that cuts the edges of the tick basically and pulls it off. So it's quite a cool concept that they have, and pretty interesting to watch them go about their work. And no, giraffe doesn't get higher quality nutrients compared to other animals, which results in its height. These animals have evolved in order to find a niche for themselves. So every animal out here has a feeding level that it's able to survive at. And so giraffe just being taller allows them less competition. The thing is, though, is that there might be a nutrient side to some parts of their kind of height, which would be that they are able to feed off a lot of plants that some of the other animals might struggle with. So things like kudu and nyala not so much, but impalas and the likes, they struggle with incredibly thorny bushes. They find that they don't really get after those as much as what a giraffe would. A giraffe has a very thickened tongue and mouth structure that allows it to be able to feed off some of the thorniest trees. Now, trees that have thorns generally are trees that have incredibly tasty leaves, and that's why they've developed thorns, in order to try and protect themselves. And so giraffe are able to combat that and feed off those plants. But really their kind of height is not a nutrient thing. It's got nothing to do with that. It's a genetic thing, and obviously just an evolution where this animal has evolved to find itself a niche where it can survive better than maybe some of the other animals that were around at the time of its process of evolution. But yeah, all the animals, if you think of it as a younger giraffe, they pretty much all can get to the same thing. So White tea poison, do giraffe ever use their horns? Well, firstly, they don't have horns. So those structures you see on top there are not referred to as horns. Ossicones are things that they use in order to basically, as males, fight with one another, where they'll swing their head and they'll hit each other with those. It's why males have much thicker ones that lack hair on top. And those are used as basically these kind of battering weapons. So as they hit each other, you can imagine the damage and the force of that big, heavy neck hitting with that solid piece of bone that's on the top of this giraffe's head. But in females, not so much. You won't really find females using it to protect themselves from lions or anything like that. They'll use their legs more than those. It's more for the males to try and establish which male is going to be able to mate with the female more than anything else, and that's why the males have such bigger, thicker ossicones than what the females do. Right, our giraffe has mosey on along. It's decided to leave us, so we shall carry on as well. I think I'm going to go back to the cut line just to check if those lions aren't lying somewhere close to the cut line. And from what I gather, it's two of the evokers, the only male lions that I can think of. It doesn't